I Own It will give you a front row seat to the positioning, bold moves, and sometimes the dog-eat-dog negotiations that go on behind the scenes of the deals that break the norms, set the precedent, and become the case study we devour as we harness our craft. Welcome to the season. Leverage. You got it or you don't. Welcome to I Own It. Today we're with Michael Bernoff. Great to see you.
It's great to be here.
What is leverage?
Wow, it means all kinds of things to me, I think to other people. I'd say the biggest thing leverage to me is having the ability to maximize whatever it is you're doing and not have to do it all yourself. So I'd say leverage, I've leveraged in all kinds of my life. There's leverage with investing, there's leverage with social media these days. I mean, the ability to put one thing out there and thousands of people get an opportunity to see it. Leverage is really how to make your life easier.
So when did you learn leverage?
I don't know if learn is anything I ever sat down. Like, I hear the word learn, I think like you had to sit down and be taught leverage. I think I experienced leverage the first time. And what it was is, I remember being a kid growing up, I'd go to the Short Hills Mall in New Jersey. I think all the rich people lived in Short Hills. And I was valeting cars, I was parking cars one at a time. And then people were coming up and they were having these cars that I've never seen before in my life. We had a Buick and they had like these wealthy, like Rolls Royces. The Sultan of Brunei literally pulled up at the mall, closed the whole thing down. And the first time I really saw leverage was, I remember asking my parents, I said, where do these people get this money from? And my parents said, they're typically business owners. And my dad had a job where I feel like a lot of times you're being leveraged. And he said, if you want to start a business, you have the ability to take your money. My parents never did this for, but they said it, and put it into something and a chance to grow something. So that's the first time I even thought about leverage.
What we just heard from Michael is leverage is not learned. It's experienced. So when you're creating leverage and using leverage, you want to experience it and use it to your advantage to benefit other people, but also benefit your experience. When did you first experience leverage?
Experience leverage. Being in business for myself. So I started coaching and working with people in my early 20s. And I remember doing one-on-one, and I would do one-on-one appointments with people. I was so good at what I did. And what happened was, over the course of a couple of weeks, I said to myself, like, this is never gonna work. I did the hours in a day and I go, this is impossible. And I found a service that was, I think, $99 a month that I could do group coaching on a teleseminar. And I found that I could work with 100 people at once. So I had the ability, instead of working with one person for like 50 bucks an hour, I could work with 200 people at once, the same amount of information. And then from there, I realized the magic leverage financially you can do when you turn your money into more money.
So what side of it were you on?
I've been both. I've been leveraged. I've literally been leveraged before where I didn't have the information. I remember growing up, like I grew up the way I grew up. I talk about it in my book all the time, middle class kid, being leveraged by like, didn't have the information, didn't get around. Like I'm living in a community where everyone has the same bit of information and I couldn't figure out how to get out of where I was at. When I got older, I recognized that other people had different information. So I maximized the leverage of others, because leverage sometimes is information. Like my mentor, Jim Rohn, always said, if you can meet with someone or read a book that somebody spent an entire lifetime to learn, and you could spend 20 bucks to learn a lifetime of information, that's leverage right there. So getting out of the environment you're in and finding people to learn quickly from, massive leverage.
So when you learn with technology and coaching how to scale your
Yes.
business through leverage, what was that moment, that aha moment you had where you said, okay, this is how I have to continue forward in business?
Yeah, it was twofold. One is from a technology standpoint, I know exactly what it was. It was, like I said, when I found that service, and then I realized additional leverage is I could use language to inspire other people to join me on this journey. So language is leverage, and not just any language, big language. What the big media companies do, they're using leverage all the time. They know that there's certain words that you can use, and I get obsessed with this. So I found there's the leverage in the technology, but there's also the leverage in the human nature. So once I figured out how to work with what I was doing, I found that if you say this way, it gives you a double impact. So you're not just saying what everyone says, what the average person says. If you say it this way, boom. Somebody gets inspired, gets excited, joins you, makes a decision, buys from you in a matter of seconds. So that was huge for me.
So you're a big proponent of self-fulfilling beliefs
100%.
and communication.
Yep.
How does leverage impact someone's self-fulfilling beliefs?
Yeah, we're being leveraged. This is interesting. I've never had anybody put those two words together. It's a genius question. Leverage and beliefs is we're being leveraged all the time by our beliefs. Like our unconscious mind, I've studied this for decades, 20-something years I've studied. I invented something called human interaction technology, is how our words affect the nervous system. So inside of our minds, we have a constant dialogue going on, and we're being leveraged by our communication. So if your mind is automatically going to repeat things over and over again, it's going to have what you believe about stuff or what you understand about things. We don't leverage our minds to the level that we need. So I find that the beliefs we have are more how we talk to ourselves, how we see the world, what we believe is absolutely true. And for the majority of us, the biggest challenge we have is we don't think about it. Even like these, I mean, we get leveraged all the time by the media. Like, so before people go to bed, let me ask you, in 1987, were you watching shows before bed not on the TV?
No.
Nobody was. But you got this thing in front of you that's leveraging you, and it knows that what you do prior to going to bed, the 15 minutes, not that, but the 15 minutes before you go to bed, whatever you do prior is going to live in your unconscious mind for 9 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours while you're sleeping. So the ultimate leverage we have is whatever you put in your mind prior to going to bed is going to permeate inside of your mind and start rebuilding your belief systems.
Here's another great point. Michael, who is a human communications expert, explained to us that the 15 minutes before you go to bed is so critical. It creates a tremendous amount of impact on the next 8 to 9 hours on your subconscious. So what are you going to do before bed? So you do a lot of coaching.
Tons.
You have a tremendous amount of clients. Having a coach or a mentor, can that provide leverage for the people out there that are watching this?
Well, you say can, and the answer is yes. It could also just be a waste of money. And the reason I'm going to say can is if you choose to want one. You can't just buy a coach and that's going to work for you. Right. But if you're a person that says, I want to let somebody help me and I'm open to letting them help me, that is biggest leverage of all. It's almost like going to AA. It's like, I want to be sober, I'm going to be sober, and I do something about it. So a coach, what they offer you is an additional perspective. So it's massive leverage. It's the ability to see something different than the way you'd see it. The coolest part about a coach is they have different experience than you have, and they have seen what it is you're dealing with. It cuts down time. Like a lot of entrepreneurs, we're stubborn. We want to figure it out ourselves, and I think that's our biggest deficit we have. So big leverage is let somebody help you and show you so you don't have to figure it out yourself.
Another takeaway that we learned from Michael is instead of being one-to-one, you want to be one-to-many. So what are you going to do to be one-to-many? How do your clients use leverage from all the skills that you teach them and the masterminds and the consistent coaching you're providing them?
We believe in shortcuts. We believe we don't do anything unless you get 3 wins out of it. Like I tell everyone, unless you're going to get 3 wins, don't bother doing it. Like you should get 3 wins. Like they should enjoy it, it should lead to future business, and you should make you happy. If you're not getting 3 wins out of everything you do at a minimum, it is not worth doing. So we literally put that in our clients' heads. So they're asking themselves, is this going to be a win down the road? So the type of leverage that our clients experience is they start to recognize that the secret to their life is not how hard can I work? It's not how much money can I make? It's how do I turn that money into more money? How do I turn my time into more money? Like we are convinced that like even when we market my book, you can spend $25 buying the book, great. My question is, do you want to spend $25 buying a book, or are you going to go into this going, I'm going to find a way to turn this into at least $2,000 to $3,000? So it's really a mindset. How can I turn a flight? We talked earlier about flying. Every time I jump on that airline, I pay $1,000 for that ticket. That is leverage. The type of people that fly semi-private like that, they're great people. Right. I've met some incredible human beings on that airline being able to do that. So our clients gain massive leverage because they realize that there's always a shortcut. Find someone who's done it before, ask them how to do it, or there's a better way to say that will get you the result you're looking for.
People call me all the time asking for advice. And Michael nailed it right on the head. If you can't explain 3 wins to me, then the answer is no. So what you're saying is human capital can provide leverage.
Massive.
And that's absolutely.
Like when you attend an event and you go, like people come to our events, like if there's the material, there's the relationships, and then there's the self-love you get for doing it for yourself. And I think a lot of us don't recognize that when we do things for ourselves, we then will do more for ourselves. I don't mean do something you shouldn't be doing that you really enjoyed, like driving into a drive-thru at a restaurant that you shouldn't be at, right? I'm talking about you go to an event, you get around great people, you start attracting more, because we attract more. It's like compound interest. When we do right things, we attract more of the right things.
Absolutely. When is taking leverage too far in your system?
Getting obsessed, just like not enjoying anything. There's a fine line between, like, let's just talk finances, never enjoying anything you do, like taking that Warren Buffett thing to it, like, I'm only gonna have that pickup truck, I'm never gonna do anything, people don't realize that's a talk. He is flying, he's got a private plane, he's doing things he's doing. So I believe taking it too far is really wanting to turn everything into a win for yourself, which is important, but also then possibly harming another person in the process. So I've got a full belief that you always want to do what's best for you without intentionally hurting anyone else. If you know it's going to harm them, the leverage, we got to think about that situation.
So it's really being aware of what is that line before you're going to create a negative impact on someone.
There's always a line. And there's always a line. And you got to realize, like I truly believe you want to care so much that you don't care at all, which means that you got to care a lot that you can't really care about hurting everybody's feelings. But if you know something that you can avoid doing that you shouldn't do, maybe that leverage isn't worth it.
Have you ever crossed a line and you look back and you're like, man, I shouldn't have done that?
Yeah, about 100,000 times. I don't know if I can think of an example off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, it's the feeling you get when you're in the casino. I mean, I gamble based on leverage. If I walk in, I'm about to go to dinner, they got these things set up. I'm not recommending gambling. Got these things set up called casinos. There's odds that are in your favor if you don't play for a long period of time. The longer you play, the faster you'll lose. So you want to play for a short period of time. I walk up, I can play for $50, turn $50 into 200, go buy a little bit of sushi that night. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's leverage. You know, you get a feeling in your heart. You've gambled ever?
Sure.
You know that feeling when you're like, I should leave?
Yes.
You know you're about to lose?
That's right.
That's God sending you a signal, like, get the hell out of here, right? But then if you play that one extra hand, you knew you should have left. We all have that every day. Every day we're in a situation where, like, I'm about to push this too far. And you can feel it, like, I better shut up because I put too much right now. There's a feeling we get learning how to be aware and pay attention to that. You get enough leverage, but if you overdo it, well, then you get that back.
Well, thank you very much for joining us.
It's great.
Great seeing you. Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, enjoyed it. Fantastic. Super great seeing you. I'm excited to see what this turns into.
Thank you.
It's time to jump out of your comfort zone and start using leverage you have right in front of you. Are you ready to put in the hard work? If you said yes, then what are you waiting for? Let's go out there and own it together.